All right, guys. Welcome to Yogalates. As always, thanks for joining me. Modify as needed. Take things slow. Move with your breath. I'd like you to get to your mat, kneel down, one knee at a time. Sink back onto your feet slowly, as deep as you can. Get those feet as flat as you can. Like I said, we're spending the entire flow down on the floor today. Sink your butt back. Let yourself just kind of get into your mat as deep as you can. If you want to kind of roll your knees hip side to side, give your ankles, feet a little chance to get stretched, and then we'll reach the crown of the head to the ceiling, keeping your butt down as deep as you can on your heels. Nice big breath in. Little sun salutation to start. Reach the arms overhead as high as you can. 2 more breaths. Reaching the crown of the head to the ceiling. Reaching up through the arms all the way across the ears. 1 more breath. On your exhale, take your right hand to the floor and reach across for a little side bend. Take a breath into it. Take a big breath in, come to the center, reach to the sky. On your exhale, take your left hand down to the floor and go into your side bend, keeping the chest tall. Here we go. Inhale up, reach to the sky. Right hand down, reaching across on the exhale. Let's keep them going. Here we go. Inhale up, reaching higher. Exhale as you take the left hand down to the floor, reach across, head high. Keep them going. Here we go. Inhale up. Nice, slow, easy warm-up today. Exhale, reach across. We're stretching the lats and the sides. Exhale down, reaching a little further each time. Let's do 2 more on each side. Inhale up, reach, and exhale across. Bring the hand to the floor. Here we go. Inhale up, reach. Exhale as you reach across into the side bend. Let's do 1 more each side, as high as you can. Exhale across as far as you can. Last one. Inhale up, reach. And exhale as far as you can across to the side. Perfect. Got the butt back already. Let's take the knees out wide as you can on your mat. Still staying comfortable. Stretch the arms out in front of you for a nice deep child's pose. Relax. Head and chest down into the mat. Get all the way out on those fingertips, keeping your butt back under your heels, and just press your body weight down into the floor as deep as you can. 3 breaths where we add in some little side reaches. Let's give it 1 more breath in our very first child's pose here. Really sink down. Here we go. I want you to walk your hands as far to your right as you can, keeping your butt back, especially with that left arm. Reach all the way across, get all the way on those fingertips with the left hand. Reach out with the right hand, push your chest down right on top of that right knee and thigh. 3 breaths. You get a really nice big stretch all down the left lat, behind that left arm and down your left side. Keep inching, walking those fingertips out as far as you can without letting your butt and body lift up. Let's take 1 more breath. We're going to walk the hands over to the left, opposite side, keeping the butt down. Walk them all the way over to the left. Reaching the fingertips, especially through the right arm. And get on those fingertips. Let's take 3 breaths into it. 2 breaths, make sure you're getting that nice big stretch all down your right side as you reach across to the left with the right arm. Good, let's come back to center. Bring your head, chest forward for Cobra. Head, chest up. Now, if your low back does not like Cobra, you can certainly just stay higher up here on the hands, or remember, you can come down to your elbows. For low Cobra, lift the head and chest, pull the shoulders back, whether you're on the hands or the elbows. 3 breaths. If you're on your hands and your back feels good, you can add me for a twist. Look over the left shoulder, look over the right shoulder, or just hold low Cobra. Abs are in tight. We're keeping the head and chest up tall, the shoulders back. Weight is on the arms, whether it's the hands or the forearms. The legs are flat and loose. And if you're joining me for this little bonus movement, we're just adding some nice rotation, little gentle twists in the spine. You can even feel the hip flexor stretch move from one side to the other. Let's do one more breath. And good. Push back. Let's extend the left arm, or excuse me, both arms out for modified downward facing dog. Let's give the wrists a break. Make sure your knees are right under your hips. Make sure your hands are wider than your shoulders. Spread the fingers wide. Turn your head to one side and dive your head and chest down as deep as you can into your mat. Pull your shoulder blades back. Press your hands firmly into the floor. Feel the stretch through the chest, upper back. 2 more breaths. Keep pushing the head down, chest down deeper, reaching out through the arms further. Turn your head to the other direction just to get it out of that same position. Turn your head to the opposite side. Keep following the same steps. That great lengthening and stretching all through the back and chest. And we're going to give it one more breath before we drag the hands back to table pose. And we'll go into our classic cat and cow. Make sure your knees are right under your hips. Anytime we do a stretch in table pose, it's always ideal to have the knees under the hips. 90 degrees at the knee, 90 degrees at the hips. That's going to let everything above get the best stretch. When we go to cat, make sure you're drawing your stomach in and up. Tuck your chin, look at your belly button. Round the back and shoulders as high as you can. And when we go to cow, do the exact opposite, keeping the arms and legs in the same position. Lift the head high, stick your butt out, arch the back down. Pull the shoulder blades back. Here we go, up to cat. Move with your breath. And release the cow. Let's do 3 more. Here we go, with your breath. Up to cat. Keep trying to get higher. And release the cow. Keep trying to get lower through the spine. 2 more times. Here we go, warming up the spine. Up to cat. Push into the mat. Squeeze your glutes in. Release into cow. Let's do it one more time. We're going to go to single arm lat stretch. Here we go. Up to cat. Last one. Round, round, and tuck. Push into the floor. And release the cow. Okay, single arm lat stretch. Remember, the knees stay under the hips. Extend your left arm out as straight as you can with a karate chop hand. So your thumb is up to the ceiling. Keep your right arm to your side. Push your chest and armpit down towards the floor. And then turn and look over your right shoulder. So we have the left arm out as straight as you can keep it with the karate chop hand, thumb to the ceiling. Pushing the chest and armpit down into the floor. Turn and look over the right shoulder. 3 breaths. Right arm is wherever you want it to feel stable. Big lat stretch. Even into the triceps, should really just be getting a nice stretch all through the back of the arm, behind the armpits, down the sides of your back. Work through those sticking points on your exhales. Let's take one more breath into it. You can keep the same position. Slide the right arm out. Slide the left arm back. Maybe a little better view here. Here is where we should be feeling the stretch if you're not sure. Right behind the armpit and side of the back. 3 breaths, follow the same steps. Pushing the chest down, turning, looking over your left shoulder. 2 more breaths. Let's give it one more breath. Okay, slide the right arm back and come into table pose. So we just got a really good stretch in the lats. Now we're going to actively stretch them. And instead of just doing traditional bird dog, we're going to do a heel press bird dog. Step your right foot back and press the heel as firmly into the floor as you can. Feeling a little stretch behind the ankle and into the calves. Now raise the left opposite arm up as high as you can without lifting your chest. 3 breaths. So we're asking those left lats, the left lat to stretch. We're pressing that right heel back, stretching Achilles tendon, soleus, calves, and that back right leg. 2 more breaths. Reaching higher, pressing the heel back firmer on each exhale. Abs are in tight. Try to not lift your head and chest too much as you raise the arm. 1 more breath, reaching up to the sky through the fingers, pushing the heel back, and come into table pose. Take a nice big breath in. Step the left leg back, bring the right arm up, and exhale into the stretch. 3 breaths. Raising that arm as high as you can without lifting your chest up. Try to get your arm in line or above your ear. 2 breaths. 1 more breath, pressing the heel, reaching the arm up through the fingers. Come to table pose. Sit up tall on the knees. So we just spent almost that entire time working on the shoulder girdle, back, spine. We're going to move on to the hips. Let's start in our classic forward low lunge. Let's bring the left foot forward today. I think this will be better for you to see on this first one. Make sure you have a big angle at your knee. Make sure your knee stays right in line with your hip and toes. Nice straight line. Head, chest up, shoulders back nice and tall. Take a breath in, core tight. Lean forward into our classic forward low lunge. Do these all the time. Stretching the hip flexors. Take your right hand to the outside of your left knee. So this is going to be our anchor point for our next position. Put your left arm straight out in front of you with the karate chop hand. On your exhale, I want you to twist to your left and reach that left arm back behind you as far as you can, getting leverage on the outside of that left leg. We're still leaning the hips forward. No push back. Twist, reach behind you. 3 breaths. Turn your head, look down your arm if you can. Keep leaning the hips forward if you can. Make sure that left knee is not bowing out to the left of the hip. That's why we have our right arm there to anchor. And as you twist, really dynamic hip stretching here. We're still stretching those back right hip flexors a lot. Now as we twist, you should feel a good stretch on the back of the left hip of the foot we have out in front, as long as that knee is not bowing out. 1 more breath. Good. Come back to the center slowly. Push back and extend your front lead leg straight for modified triangle fold. Lock the knee, flex your toes towards you. Trace your hand down and fold into your leg deep as you can. You can keep the hands up here on the thigh or shin. I almost said thin. That's where the shin and thigh meet, the thin. Fold to the knee. Hands to the floor or on your thigh or shin. 3 breaths past your sticking point. That is our theme. And again, I know I probably do not sound good. A little bit of a head cold. I had a joke I was going to tell you earlier. It doesn't matter if I get a virus as long as my computer doesn't get a virus. 2 breaths. I'll put a mask on my computer. 1 more breath. Okay, lift the head, chest up. Come forward, bend that left knee again. Take the right hand to the floor underneath your chest somewhere where you feel strong. Reverse modified triangle. Bring the left arm up. Palm forward, turn your head. Look up your left arm as you reach. Try to keep the arms somewhat in line. Lean the hips forward as you twist and reach up to the sky. 3 breaths. Let's give it one more breath. Flatten your back out. Pretend like there's a wall behind you. We're pushing our back flat against it on this last breath. Okay, bring the left hand down to join your right. Draw the left leg back into table pose, and let's sink back into a quick recovery child's pose position. Let's just give the hips a good break. Take the energy back all the way down to 0. 3 breaths, sinking as deep into your mat as you can. Stretch your arms out. Get those feet nice and flat. The back's happy place. 2 breaths. Little recovery. We got to do that same sequence with the right leg forward on the opposite side. One more breath before we sit up tall into hero pose. Step your right foot forward, forward low lunge. Big angle at the knee. Knee and foot is right in front of the hip. Keep the arms down for now. Head, chest up, shoulders back. On your exhale, take it into forward low lunge pose. I'm just going to give it just a couple of breaths before we add in our, I call it a sprinkler twist. Okay, here's the key. Keep that right knee right in front of the hip, and we're going to make sure of that by locking that left hand to the outside of the right knee. Extend the right arm straight, karate chop hands. When you exhale, twist and reach behind you. Turn your head, look down your arm, lean the hips forward. Force that right knee to stay in front of the hip. So now we are adding in a stretch behind that right hip as we twist. 2 more breaths. Take things slow. As I often say, every day is different and each side of the body is different. I've not met a perfectly symmetrical person in the 11 to 12 years that I've been helping people. One more breath before we return back. Come back nice and slow. Remember, everything's with control and precision. Push back and extend the right leg straight. Lock the knee, flex the toes. That might be enough to feel those hamstrings already getting a big stretch. You can just stay right here. And then we start working our way down with the breath. Find your sticking point, wherever that may be. And we take our 3 long, deep belly breaths past it. Do not bend the knee. Try to keep the toes flexed. When we flex the toes, fully lengthens all of those muscles and tendons in the back of the leg. Two breaths. Relaxing deeper and deeper into your leg. One more breath. Good. Bring yourself up and forward so your foot is flat, knee is bent again. Our forward low lunge. Keep the left hand on the floor underneath your chest, shoulder, somewhere where you feel strong. Take a breath in. And on your exhale, we go into our modified reverse triangle for 3 breaths. Remember, that imaginary wall is behind you. We want to get our back as flat against it as you can. Reaching up to the sky and back. Turn your head, look up your arm as it reaches if you're able to. Give it one more breath. Last big reach. Okay, bring that right hand back down to join your left. Draw the right leg back into table pose. We're gonna go into either a prone position, like so, or you can dive the head down for heel presses. We're gonna actively press those heels now. Knee walks, we call this walking the knees in down dog. If this is too tough of a position for you, flatten your back out, do them like this. Dive the head, you'll get a bigger stretch. You'll be asking those hamstrings to jump in and get stretched. And all we're doing is bending one knee and turning in as you press the opposite straight leg heel into the floor. Don't worry about following me. Follow your breath. Inhale, transition. Exhale, stretch. That's always the theme we want. Inhale on the transition. Exhale as you press the heel and stretch it. I'm just doing like 3 to 5 second stretches. We're gonna keep it moving. This is what dynamic stretching is all about. Active, dynamic stretching. Let's do 3 more breaths. We're gonna go to pigeon next. 2 breaths. Last breath, flatten your back out. Very slowly cross your right leg under your body like so. Let your back knee come to the floor, slide back into pigeon. So remember, we're stretching the back of the hip is where you should be feeling that stretch of that right leg crossed under, outer back side of the hip. Once you slide that left leg back as far as you can, if you feel able, fold down into the pose deeper. If you're real tight, you might be something like this. Back knee might be bent. You might have that butt up in the air and you're just sinking down and you're feeling that stretch. That is absolutely fine. Just make sure you're feeling the stretch in the right spot. 3 breaths. Outer back side of the hip of the leg crossed under the body. The more parallel your shin bone is to the top edge of your mat, the bigger the stretch that you're going to get, the quicker you'll get into it. So find a position that works for you. For a moderate stretch, nothing past an 8 of discomfort, not pain. Let's give it a couple more breaths. One more breath. We're going to transition right to the other side. Bring the hands under the shoulders if you're folded down. Bring the back left knee off the floor. Draw the right leg back so you're nice and prone. Very slowly on your breath, cross the left leg under to pigeon. Sink down slowly to establish the stretch. And then use your breath to work into it. Find your sticking point. 3 nice, long, deep belly breaths. We're going to get off the knees after this. I know I haven't looked at the time, but my guess is we're getting closer than I realize. Let's give it 1 or 2 more breaths in our pigeon. Then I'm going to ask you to have a seat on your butt with your legs straight out in front of you. We're going to kick off our next little sequence, which is going to be modified boat pose to forward spine stretch. Have a seat on your butt with your legs straight out in front of you. Lock the knees, make sure your toes stay to the ceiling. Don't let them plop out to the sides, which is probably what they want to do for some of you. It's what happens when we get really tight. Our bicep femoris, posterior tibialis, lateral gastroc, very common. All these muscles out here, synergists, they all tighten up, make the toes pronate out. We want to try to correct that. Toes up, Reach the arms straight out in front of you, palms down, reaching the crown of the head to the ceiling. Sit as tall as you can. Keep the knees nice and straight. Inhale, roll back slowly as much as you can without laying down, without the feet lifting off the floor. Let's take 2 more breaths into it. Modified boat. Working the abs a little bit. As much or as little as you want. 1 more big breath in. And as you exhale, come forward into our forward spine stretch. Reach out through the arms as you fold down into your legs. 3 breaths. Relaxing the head and chest down into the legs as we reach out through the arms. And you can see why they call it forward spine stretch. Look at that nice angle and stretch we're making through the back and spine. 1 more breath. We're going to just do that 1 more time. Inhale, peel the back 1 vertebrae at a time to modified boat pose. See if you can get a little further this time, but don't lay down and don't let your feet lift up. 2 breaths. Reaching out through the fingers, keeping the knees straight, the toes flexed, and reaching up to the ceiling. Here's our big breath in. And on your exhale, see if you can get a little further in our forward spine stretch. Take it forward. 3 breaths, sinking a little deeper past that sticking point. One more breath, guys, then we're going to lay flat and get into our final cool down pretty shortly here. All right, peel yourself back nice and slow, 1 vertebrae at a time. Make sure you have room behind you. If your back is okay with it, do a roll back, bring yourself back, or go to your side, whatever feels best to you. Once you get flat, bring the arms behind you. Our classic good morning stretch. Very simple stretch, but one of my favorites. I like to do this as soon as we get the opportunity to get flat, really just decompress and stretch the whole body out. Get as long and as flat as you can, reaching back through the fingers, reaching down through the toes. The abs are tight. Everything's pulling away from the spine and trunk. 1 more breath. Bring the knees into your chest 1 at a time. Hug them down as firmly as you can. I like to go into cradle after that good morning stretch. So we went from as long and as big as we could get to as small as you can get. Hug your knees into your chest. Push your chest to your knees. Wrap your arms around the knees. Squeeze your abs. 3 breaths. Smallest little ball you can make. I think we're going to just go into a nice, gentle, single lying hip twist for our last stretch before our final cool down. Extend that right leg down all the way straight to the floor and relax your head. Keep the left knee bent at 90 degrees. Take your left arm out to your side, anchor that left shoulder down as you take that left knee over towards the floor. Turn your head and look down your left arm that's out to your side. It will help to keep the shoulder down as you guide that knee over as far as you can. And let's take 3 breaths into it. Make sure you're reaching out through those left fingers out to your side. You're keeping the left shoulder down as best as you can. You have your palm up of that left hand. Might be feeling a nice little chest stretch as well. Back of that left hip. Let's give it 1 more breath. Return that left knee back over the hip slowly and then extend it down straight to join the right. Bring the right knee up at 90 degrees. Put your right arm straight out to your side. Take your left hand to the outer side of that right knee to take it over. Make sure the bottom leg stays anchored in place as well. Find that sticking point. 3 breaths past it before our final cool down. We're gonna do 5 nice, long, deep belly breaths. Well, you guys will probably take some nice deep belly breaths. 2 breaths. One more breath, be careful, big stretch. Okay, return the right knee over the hip slowly and then extend it down to join your left for corpse pose. Let your toes plop out now. Relax your arms to your sides with your palms up. Close your eyes. I want you to take 5 of the longest, deepest belly breaths you can. Every bit of air in and every bit of that air out. Get lots and lots of oxygen in the body. Like I say, after you've done a really good full body stretch, blood flow is much, much better than it was when we started. We can really get our oxygen saturation high. Long, deep belly breaths. Let everything get heavy as you take as much air in as you can. Let's do 3 more. 2 long, deep belly breaths. 1 final long, deep belly breath, as much air as you can get in and out. Once you let all that air out, bring your arms behind you and bring your feet a little bit off the floor if your back's okay with it, and stretch out as big as you can. Take a nice big breath into it, reaching down through the toes, back through the arms, and let the feet come down. Open up your eyes. Roll or sit yourself up any way you can. And that is where we shall end our Yogalates edition today. Let me come pause our recording. Thank you guys for moving and stretching with me. I hope you enjoyed.